Hello again and welcome to the July video. Amazingly, we're halfway through the year and I thought this would be a good time to just stop and look at what we've achieved. If you cast your minds back to January and February, I asked all your managers to share with you our strategic vision for 2012 and they did that. I'm now asking them at the midpoint of the year to go back with you and just look at what we've achieved. And I hope that you'll participate in those meetings. I hope that you'll make a contribution towards capturing the gains that we have made, locking them in, but just as importantly, that you will help those plans which are behind to catch up so that we can reach the end of the year with 100% completion on our strategic plans. So today I'm in the management conference room and you'll see behind me and to the side of me a great deal of information that I and your general managers spend our time analyzing and trying to improve our performance on. Of course, our performance guidelines are dictated very largely by the Solomon studies that we contribute to every 2 years. You'll have heard me talk about the Solomon studies before. There is just a vast amount of information, and I've got some of it lying in front of me here. It's really astonishing how much there is. They even give you a manual on how to use this information. But because it's too cumbersome for the purposes of this short presentation, we have synthesized it down to 12 key parts that we want to share with you this morning. So I'm going to go now to the 12 key metrics that we look at, and I'm going to try to share with them to show you how much we've progressed in 2012, the first 6 months of 2012 compared to where we were in 2010 when we had our last results, and we'll be looking at our 2011 results versus year to date. So what we're going to look at now is the results for 2011 of 111 operations like ours in Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. And this is how Solomon normally presents this information. Red is bad and green is good. So if you're up here, you are what Solomon call a pace setter. If you're way back down in the red end, you are at the bottom of the 111 operations like ours that we're willing to share with you. The line that runs through the center is where the average operation like ours is. So let me start with the first one, the Crude Run. You can see that in 2011 here, our crude run was very average. The good news is that year to date, we are ahead of our plan. And that's great credit to our folks in maintenance and operation. So the second thing I want to consider is the net cash margin. Net cash margin is the money we generate in US dollars per barrel after we consider the cost of our crude, the value we get for our products, and we make an allowance for energy, for salaries, and for financial costs and depreciation, interest rates, things like that. In 2011, we were doing very well. Unfortunately, year to date, we've slipped back a bit. Now, that's something that we need to work on seriously. Operational availability, again, in 2011 we were just above average. Year to date we are average at the moment. That is due mainly to shutdowns that we've experienced and that we need to improve on. Some of those shutdowns, of course, were planned. Some, unfortunately, were not. This one, refinery utilization as a percentage, is not a very good picture when you look at 2011 where we were. We've improved slightly in 2012 year to date. There are reasons why we are lagging in there, and it is mainly because we deliberately choose not to fill up some of our operating units. Gas availability index, we have made an improvement from where we were in 2011 and where we are year to date. Gas availability is an indication of how efficiently, how effectively we are using the gas that is being produced. Our environmental index, again in 2011, very average, and unfortunately we have slipped back a bit here. We are year to date. A lot of it, or some of it, has to do with our utilization, and as we shut down units, of course, we don't help our environmental index performance. The really interesting one is this cash operating expense. You can see that again, and unfortunately the charts have reversed. The red, the bad end is here now, and the good end is there. Operating expense, we were a very, very high cost operation in 2011. Way, way down at the bottom end. With some of the new tools we've introduced, some of the new rigor we've introduced into holding people accountable for what they're spending, we have made a staggering change, and we're way up here now. This is probably the bottom end of the first quartile. So a huge success story there, and my congratulations to all of you who've been involved in handling that. So here's the second part of the chart. I want to talk a little bit about energy intensity. You can see here some very poor performers. We were very average, around about here. And after our energy blitz, we've made a change towards the good end. Now, I know that for many of you this will be a disappointment. It's a great success story, but it's a disappointing move when you consider how far we've moved in some of the other areas. The reason for this is that to get from here way up to the other end would take a huge amount of capital spend, and we're just not prepared to do that as we come into the refinery master plan. Our present energy intensity index is around about 125. When we get into the master plan, we expect to be way down at the far end there. We expect to have an energy intensity index of about 80. And on present costs, one EII number is worth about $600,000 to us. So you can see how much potential there is to get that right. But the main point is that everything we can save with what we have at the moment, every number we can improve is worth $600,000. So it's very, very well worthwhile to continue with the improvements and the gains we've made in the recent energy blitz. The maintenance index, we have always been a high maintenance cost operation here. We weren't very good in 2011. We are poorer in 2010. And before you get despondent on that, there are several reasons why we have moved in the wrong direction. They are accounting reasons. Our project, our STG project, is considered to be a replacement project. Therefore, all the money that we're spending, a lot of it capital money we're spending, actually goes into maintenance expense. The good news is that if you take that out, maintenance are now running somewhere up in here, and they've managed, if you look back, to hold our expenses, or our maintenance expenses, where they were in around about 2009. So there's a good story there, but an awful lot of room for improvement. Absenteeism, we are a poor performer out of the 111 operations like ours in the business. With the introduction of the Bradford factor, we have made a change. we've moved from where we were at I don't know, 4 or 5% absenteeism. Now we're heading towards 3.1%, and we really need to be down here. We really need everyone to come to work every day. Our injury frequency rate, 2011, has suffered a little bit. We've gone backwards in 2012 year to date. But although we are having slightly more injuries, which is a bad thing in itself, if you look at where we were with injury severity in 2011, we've made a huge change in 2012. In fact, as I speak today, and I hope I'm not tempting fate, we are actually have gone this year without injuring anyone to an extent that they couldn't come to work the following day. So I hope some of this has been helpful to you. Generally, it's a good story. We're moving in the right direction. We're getting from red to green in most areas. Halfway through the year, that's very commendable, and I hope at the end of this year to be able to come back in December or January in 2013 and show you the complete picture and show you how we've changed. So thanks very much for your attention. Thank you.